So we have the Proto Rail Max versus, I mean, I guess you can say ETHA. I don't have the ETHA here, but I've used it. Doug did a review on it. I did the ETHA versus in the $500 price range. I would say, hands down, the Mini GS and the Rail Max. I mean, definitely the Mini GS would for sure beat the ETHA, unless if you're like a bigger guy and you play scenarios, because you can put an EMC kit on it. Just go watch the review of the ETHA. Not really a big fan of the ETHA. It's not the best gun in the world. It vibrates and kicks, sounds weird, has a shit barrel, trigger's meh, board is meh. But I mean, yeah, I don't know. I like the Mini GS all around a lot more. And you get really not much of anything with the Mini GS in the box. Inside the box here you get some nice dye lube, full Allen key set that you need. You get your manual, and dye can definitely pull it off in this gun, but I mean, yeah, that's right. Just take a good look at that barrel cover. I wouldn't even, no, not even gonna go there. You also get a little parts kit. Now the cool thing about the Rail Max is, I'm going to talk about the Rail Max for a little bit. You get an also warranty card. By the way, we're giving this gun away. Rail Max, the cool thing is, it comes with color coded O-rings. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it apart. Is this the big enough size? Yes, it is. So a lot of people don't know this, and if you live under a rock and you don't know this, I'm about to explain it to you. Mini GS does not have this. Mostly dye guns have it, so actually I'm pretty sure dye guns are the only ones. Proto is owned by Dye. That's who makes all of Proto's guns, is Dye. So now if you look on the Rail Max, you have green O-rings there, you've got red O-rings there, you have a black one here, and you have a blue one on the tip. There's some more red ones and stuff on the inside. So basically, the cool thing about that is you chop an O-ring or something happens and you don't know the exact size. Dye took out the guessing of you know, saying, oh, I don't know what size this is or whatever. They took the guessing out. You use the color-coded O-rings. It's a pretty cool idea. Now me, I don't have them in my DM. I just got rid of them because normal O-rings, I seem to find they last a little bit longer. I don't know, I just like the normal O-rings more. I know all the sizes to them basically. I mean, the only O-ring that you should have to ever do a thing on is or ever replace would be the sail O-ring. So, that's a cool thing about what the Rail Max gives you. Now you have to look at this in terms of, you know, what do you get with both guns? So, get an ultralight barrel, you get a shitty 12-inch barrel. I mean, people say, yeah, it's got more porting. Yeah, it's still, yeah, no, it's not as good as the ultralight, and can't even go there. The thing is, when I got the Rail Max in my hands, I still don't like the ergonomics of it. I don't like the ergonomics of this gun at all. I don't like this. It seems way too skinny right here. They should have just took this reg and done like a reflex round, just jammed it up there. And meh. That's how I really feel when I get this in my hands, is I'm just like, yeah, trigger, absolute horse shit, unless for using ramping, because all you have to do is just sit there and pull the trigger. Not really that amazing of a trigger. It's really plasticky. I having troubles adjusting it. It's not the most amazing trigger in the world. It's meh. I mean, I don't really know. I just don't like the trigger that much. Board right on the back. The thing that I really don't like, that I really absolutely dislike about this gun, is that in all the reflex rails and the DMs and all that stuff, I wished it would have been very beneficial to have the light right here, the LED light. If you know what I'm talking about, go watch the reflex rail review. But I mean, all you really get is that when you turn on the gun is that little window thing, and in the sunlight, meh. You know, I wish they would have really opened that up so you get the whole entire effect of the light, but that's me being very critical about it and me being picky. And you guys, if you don't know how I feel about this ASA, I think Dye needs to redo their ASA. I don't care what you say. It's No, it's not that good. Anyone that I plays on Team Insanity agrees that owns a die gun, because this is just such a small little knob. It's a really small lever, and I don't know. It's kind of confusing at first when you first go to turn it on. You hear the gun air up, but it's not on all the way. It'll just when you get about to that point, but you have to take it and turn it one more little notch to get it there. So there's like, I don't know, it's hard to explain, like 2 stages, and I don't like the ASA. It's the very, very tiny lever for one of, it's just essential. I really think they need to change it. It's really tiny. Now the Mini GS ASA, on the other hand, it lines up flush. Now if you guys watch the Mini GS review, I suggest you go watch both of these reviews before you actually watch this video, because I'm very brushing over the top of all the features, I guess. The Mini GS, what it is that it doesn't really have like a little lever or anything for you to like put your finger on and flip up or anything. There's nothing there. It lines up completely 100% flush with the bottom of the ASA. So if you have like a Gorilla air tank, or if you have like a Gorilla, not really tank, but the regs are basically, the threads end right at the gauge. It's like they make sure that you don't waste any space, and it screws in all the way, and the reg and the fill nipple and everything is right on top of each other with the ASA. So when you go to screw that in, if you have like if it lines up perfectly like on a Gorilla or anything, then if you have your gauge right here, it's impossible to turn it off unless if you take like a toothpick or something and work your way in there. You have to like turn the tank a little bit and then try to flip it off. I really wish they would have gone with like the axe style of ASA. I don't really like this ASA that much. I think they can get away with it on the Mini. Don't think they can get away with it on the Vanquish. It's just the very little things that count in $1,500 guns, but that's a completely different story. Other thing that I don't like about the Mini that the rail does have is this actually has a real regulator. I mean, this has a real regulator too, but what I mean by real regulator is that I don't have to go out to the store and buy 5,000 different tools to take this thing apart, void my warranty, and fuck everything up. Okay? If you guys have watched Mike Phillips's videos on how to take apart like the axe regulators and stuff like that, it does void your warranty for one. They do not want you going in there. They really don't want you servicing much on this gun, except for the bolt. They don't make much on like their axes or the minis or anything much user accessible, which really kind of bothers me, because if I'm at a tournament and my reg is leaking, I don't want to have to run to Home Depot to buy parts to take apart my reg and then void my warranty. I just think that's really, really stupid. I think that's I don't get that. You know, if you're at a local tournament, I mean, I guess if you go to like Living Legends or World Cup or something and you have a little backup to hold you off, you can throw it to them and say, hey, fix it, like how I do to DJ. I just say, hey, fix it if I don't know how to fix something. I guess you can do that to the Empire techs if you're at a big event like World Cup or, I don't know, another PSP event or something like that, and Empire techs are there. They'll do that for you, but like I said again, if you're in the middle, if you're playing World Cup, you're normally 9 times out of 10 won't be playing with a Mini GS, but you'll be playing with a Vanquish, that kind of stuff. And that's the one thing I don't like about Empire that Dye does right, that you can take apart every inch of this entire gun. If I need to get to something, I can take it apart, everything, and it doesn't void my warranty, everything. Well, the solenoid, I think, if you start getting into the solenoid, but I mean, you really have to know what you're doing if you're taking apart solenoids and changing O-rings inside of solenoids. By that time, people normally just replace them, but that's besides the point. So, you know, that's really personal preference thing, up to you. That's one reason why I will never have an Empire gun as my main tournament setup gun. Is just, I will always have an Empire gun as a backup, but I won't ever own one. I will never own a Vanquish and have it at, I mean, I might own a Vanquish, but I'll never say, hey, I'm going to use this Vanquish at a tournament and not bring it back up, because there's just, what if something goes wrong with the reg? I mean, what if something happens with the ASA? I can't fix it. Plain and simple, you can't fix it, which is a bitch, unless if you do have the equipment and knowledge to do it, and they really don't make it like that amazing to do it. So that's a little something on that. Now, in terms of size, I mean, the Mini, it's obviously Mini, so the rail is a teeny bit, I mean, they're both basically the same. But I mean, the rail has the thing I like. I mean, you can put your thumb in here and everything. But like I said, I don't like the ergonomics of, to be honest, either one of them. I like the ETA ergonomics. But I mean, I like the Mini. I like the feel of this Mini. I mean, I don't like the feel of it because it's Mini. I like the axe more, but I like the feel of this Mini more with these grips on it than the original Mini. I like it more, so I'm trying to say. In terms of feel, I don't know. I guess I'll give it to the Mini. I really like the feel of the Mini a little bit more, which is kind of hard to say, but this feels really, really cheap to me. A lot of people have been asking, even though this gun's a little bit more expensive, this just seems too cheap to me. I don't think they could have. This is like a composite, like not E-Tech composite, but I mean this is like it's long story short, it's like plastic. It's a plastic grip frame, and I don't want that on my gun. It's kind of disappointing that they would do that, and I really don't like it. But I mean, it's a bitch, and I really don't like the feel of it. It feels really cheap. The other thing is that this regulator is very wobbly, and on the inside, I would take apart the grips and show you, but it's going to take too long. And inside is kind of a pain to turn everything around and get everything situated. But I mean, I guess you can do that, and you can take out the board and do everything that you can't really do. I mean, you can take out the board on the Mini GS, but they don't want you to. The other thing is that I don't understand that what Dye does with the rail series. I don't have a problem with my DM, but I can't get this damn macro line off. It is so long. It is like, I don't know what it is, but I can't get it off. I've tried everything, and I cannot get this damn macro line off. It's just too long. It was like that in my reflex rail and Nick's reflex rail. What we had to do is the thing, like we had one of these on where the macro goes. So what we would do is we would turn it, and you could literally keep on turning the macro line with it, or you could keep on turning the fitting with it, so you can unscrew the regulator, pull it off, and then you pull the regulator, so that way you can really yank that off. But I mean, it was so long in there, and it's like stuck in there. There's so much to like pull out of it, and there's no room, and I don't really know how to get this part off, or like that macro off. There's so much in there. I don't know why they do that, but Nick and I, we took our reflexes and we snipped the macro line because it's so long and it's such a pain in the ass. It really is to like pull these out and fish them out. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just the guns that we're getting and they're sending us. And they're like, hey, we're gonna fuck up Team Insanity, make sure that they don't get the right size length. I don't really know, but it seems to be a reoccurring problem. So Dye, shorten your macro line so we can at least pull it off pretty easy. I can do it. We just got a DPE one in the mail today. I pulled it off without any problem. This, I would sit there for 30 minutes and make my finger bleed and not be able to take it off. It's really a big pain in the ass to me. I don't understand it. It's whatever. In terms of shot, well first, before we get to shot smoothness, feed necks, I mean, they're both really cool, but I have to give it to Dye because the reason why, I mean, Proto. Because the thing is that to tighten this, what you do is you just twist it. I don't need an Allen wrench. Oh, hey Jacob, give me your rotor. And then I twist it. And then, oh, hey, look, I'm going to put my Pinocchio back on. I'm going to twist it. Okay, don't get your rotor. I don't need it. I was just using that as an example. And you just twist it. So if I'm playing a tournament and all of a sudden my hopper goes down, and I'm using my Z2 and Jacob is using his rotor and he's not playing the next point, I can just take it, twist this really, really quick to fit the rotor, and boom, it's back on and it fits perfectly fine. This, gotta bust out the Allen wrench. Okay, gotta bust that out. I mean, there's not really much twist into this at all. There, you can't really do that with this feed neck. But whatever. So, good job, Dye, Proto, whatever you want to call yourself. And now we'll go to shot smoothness and consistency. Obviously, the more you shoot the rail, the more consistent and smoother it's going to get. Mini GS, I mean, it will, but definitely not as much as a spool valve gun. But this bolt, like, you guys have all seen the Mini GS bolt, but I mean, this is basically the same exact thing as my reflex rail bolt, and it looks similar to all the Dye series bolts. There's, goddamn, there's so many O-rings on this thing. I mean, it looks just like I mean, not a DM bolt, but it looks just like a reflex reel bolt, and it shoots sort of like an old PMR or an old reflex reel, and I really like that. And it's definitely smoother than the Mini GS. Mini GS seems to have a little bit different of a sound quality, and by that I mean the rail seems to have a different like sound quality. I don't really know how to explain it. It's definitely unique sound. It's nothing that it's, you know, you're shooting off in the woods and I can be like, yep, that's definitely a Rail Max. You're shooting off in the woods with a Mini. I'm just like, oh, there's an axe. I mean, this is basically shoots like an axe, but I still think the Rail has a better little bit of a smoother shot, I guess you can say. The more you shoot it, the more it'll work in, the smoother it'll get, you know what I mean? But the Mini, I mean, it's so consistent out of the box. You don't have to worry about anything breaking in. There's no O-rings. It's really, what do you want? Do you want a spool or do you want an inline poppet? To be honest, I really kind of like the Mini GS a little bit more. And the board's easier to change than the Rail Max. I like how the Rail Max shoots more, but I mean, you get a better barrel with this, you get a better feed neck, but it seems too cheap to me. The trigger, I can't get over the trigger. I can't get over the really bad grip frame. You can just really hear, it just sounds like this gun's falling apart when you're pulling the trigger. It's plasticky, it's not that amazing, but you do get better packaging. But I just feel like you get the better quality, like I feel like I'm shooting like a better gun than the Rail Max. I just feel like this is better. That's just my thoughts on it. That's how Jacob and Nick feel too. Well, I don't know how Nick feels, but I think he says about the same thing, is that this it feels really, really cheap. And I've had the time to shoot both of them and use both of them. I like the ETHA the least out of all it has the shittiest shot quality. I mean, not the shittiest, but I mean, it definitely sounds weird. It vibrates. It's not my favorite at all. But I mean, for sure, I like how this shoots. I like how it feels a little bit more. It feels a lot less cheap, and I don't know. I just really like it. Even though this grip frame, I do like the UL grip frames, but it's not a true ultralight grip frame. But I mean, I don't know. I like both of them. I like both. There's pros and cons to both of them, but I don't know. I just feel like you're getting more of a real gun, real marker, I guess you can say, real marker with the Mini GS. It has, and especially me playing semi 90% of the times when I'm at Lone Wolf, I want the better trigger. Rail Max doesn't really have that. But you do have to look for, this is also cheaper than the Mini GS. So if you're on a tighter budget and you need to buy a mask and some pads or something, then hey, you can get the Rail Max and still have some money left over to save up for a new mask and some pads or something like that. So that's something to look forward to. But I mean, it seems cheaper to me. I mean, I don't know. That's just my opinion on it. We're giving the Rail Max away. Mini GS is already gone, so don't worry. Rail Max will be coming soon. So I mean, I just think that there's pros and cons to both, and you really just need to find out which one you like more. Me, I really like the Mini GS more, even though I like the barrel and everything else. I really like how this shoots. I've got a lot of time to use both of them. I really like how this shoots, but once I put my hand up here, it just all goes to shit, and I'm just like, how do I don't know. It just seems cheap to me, but that's all. It's a lot faster than the hour-long video that I made for the last guns that I put together. So yeah, thanks, and I hope this helped you guys out. Any more questions, post it up.